For Karen Calvo, smiles are rare these days, but ask her about her late husband, Gene, and her face lights up.
I just felt so comfortable with him. It's like I knew him my entire life. That's how I felt. He had that gruff exterior, but he was just like a teddy bear inside. Very loving.
Karen and Gene found love late in life in the year 2001. Both were nearing 50. They wed in 2003.
This was the one who I was meant to be with. He was my best friend.
But soon after, a call came that would change everything. Gene's longtime friend, Michael Kazula, revealed he had been diagnosed with hepatitis C, the chronic viral disease that is the leading cause of liver cancer.
At some point, you thought, I need to share this with Gene Calvo.
Yes.
Why did you feel the need to do that?
Well, we had done a lot of similar things to our youth. We did experiment with a lot of different drugs and things like that.
The two men had shared needles, one of the leading ways the infection is spread. Kazula says their experimental drug stage ended in the early 1970s when Gene enlisted in the U.S. Army and was sent to Germany.
When they were young, they took drugs, but that was something that neither one of them did probably for a good 35 years. But it's one of those things that just catches up to you.
And it caught up to Gene. He tested positive for hepatitis C in 2003. Doctors tried treating Gene with interferon, but his body didn't respond well. He landed in the hospital. Then came hope.
I am ready.
Because today, there's Harvoni, a revolutionary treatment for the most common type of chronic hepatitis C.
The breakthrough drug from Gilead Sciences has a high cure rate but comes with a hefty price tag, $94,500 for a 3-month course of treatment.
We thought that this was going to be a cure-all because according to everything we read, 98% of the people are cured. So he felt good about it.
But Gene and Karen quickly learned getting approved for Harvoni would be a struggle. His coverage was through Aetna, but Aetna says medication approval was handled by a separate company, Envision Pharmaceutical Services. Through 2 different doctors, Gene was denied twice. The second denial, says Karen, cited the lack of a letter stating Gene wouldn't take illegal drugs or alcohol. But Karen says they did send that letter.
I was livid. I couldn't believe it. We called them, and then forget, my husband got on the phone and he said to the representative who picked up, he goes, you just put a nail in my coffin.
The couple began a furious effort to unravel the confusion and get approval for Harvoni. Gene's doctor, who declined to speak with us, wrote a letter to Envision dated September 22nd. He stated, "It is imperative that you approve this immediately as the patient is clearly cirrhotic with end-stage liver disease, and this is his one chance to try and improve his liver function, and the patient must be started on this immediately. It would be malpractice to not approve of this treatment." On October 28th, an external review board upheld the denial.
What do you think the reason was that you weren't approved for this drug?
The price,
And he would have had to take it for how long?
6 months.
It's not something you can just fork over.
I wish I could have, but I don't have that kind of money. Because if I did, if my house was worth that much, I would have done anything. This was my best friend. This is my husband.
As Gene got sicker, Karen reached out to a health advocate and her congresswoman. At the same time, her son Stephen, a video editor at Al Jazeera America, brought attention to his stepfather's case on social media.
The day it was on social media, which was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, 5:30 that afternoon, I got a phone call that he was approved.
How did that strike you?
Little strange, little coincidental, it's out on social media, and now you're approving me
In one day?
in one day.
A bottle of Harvoni arrived on November 30th, 5 months after the first doctor had prescribed it.
The doctor didn't want him to take it because he felt, well, what happens with Harvoni is once you start it, you can't stop, you can't skip a day. So because he was so sick, he didn't want him to start it until he knew he can take it straight through.
Karen says Gene was supposed to start taking the medication within days, but plans changed when he was rushed back to this hospital. What remains unclear is why Gene was denied coverage for months and then suddenly approved. We reached out to Envision Pharmaceutical Services. That's the company responsible for approving Gene's medication. Envision told us that it couldn't comment on Gene's case because of medical privacy laws. Michael, meantime, was hopeful about his own health. He had been approved for Harvoni and was well into his course of treatment when he visited Gene in the hospital.
It was like polar opposites, him and I, where he's deteriorating and I'm fine.
What did he tell you?
That he was afraid of dying.
Did he talk a lot about the drug?
Yes, it was a hope.
How angry was he that he didn't get it?
Very, very angry.
How likely you succeed really depends on how hard you try. Many patients and physicians, after that first turn down, will give up.
Liver specialist Robert Brown did not treat Gene Calvo, but he says it's not uncommon for his patients to have to try several times to get insurance approval for hepatitis C drugs.
It frequently takes 2, 3, 4 attempts, and I frequently advise my patients to make personal appeals.
Brown says since the regulatory approval for the breakthrough hepatitis C drugs in recent years, he's seen hundreds of patients cured of hepatitis C, but he's also seen insurers taking on a larger role.
I think any time it takes 6 to 8 weeks for me to get approval for a FDA-approved medication being used according to its FDA-approved indication in a patient that I need treatment, the insurer is overstepping its role as provider of insurance benefits.
As Karen Calvo found out, weeks made all the difference. Gene spiraled into stage 4 liver failure. The untouched bottle of Harvoni was within sight inside his hospital room, but out of reach. 22 days after getting approved for the drug, Gene could no longer fight.
We listened to Gene breathing and we saw it was less and less until he stopped breathing. But then his heart went on probably for like another 40, 45 minutes. And I never let go of his hand. And I know his best friend was holding his other hand.
I knew it was the end. I'm glad I was there for him.
As he mourns his friend, Michael has since learned that his body is now free of the hepatitis C virus. Both he and Gene's widow are plagued with the question of, what if?
In my heart of hearts, I feel if he was on this medication, if he got it back at the end of August, beginning of September, he would have been on it for like 3 months. He'd still be here. Maybe he wouldn't be 100%, but he'd still be here.
Approval